Tim and Liv seem to be enjoying their married life in Germany. Liv becomes pregnant and the couple couldn't be happier. But soon after, she loses the child, and since that day, Tim has buried himself in his job as a programmer for a video game company. Over the last 2 years, their once loving bond has turned cold and distant. One day, the couple leaves their apartment. For weeks, their entire building has been draped in a huge black tarp because the landlord Friedman is doing renovations. Tim and Liv stop to chat with him on the street. Friedman reassures them that the work will soon be finished. Just then, helicopters roar overhead and the sky fills with smoke in the distance. There has been a massive fire at the harbor. Later, Liv reveals she has picked up their van from the repair shop. The couple looks at the vehicle, lost in thought. Then they awkwardly try to make conversation. Liv says she's glad they'll soon have more space, hinting that she'd like to move out of Germany. Tim, however, remains silent, still hung up on his work. Liv drops another bombshell. She's quit her job. Tim is shocked. Liv reveals she wants them to drive to France and start fresh, hoping this bold step will heal their broken relationship. Tim, though, quickly refuses. He insists he must finish his project first. Liv argues that their relationship is more important, but Tim cuts her off, promising they can revisit the idea later. Their tense conversation is cut off when Tim gets another work call. Liv walks away, furious and heartbroken. Later, she cries quietly in bed. Above their apartment, a strange dark cloud forms in the sky. The next morning, Liv declares she can't take it anymore and is leaving alone. Tim pretends to stop her, but secretly is relieved. Liv opens the front door, but her blood runs cold. A massive black wall is blocking the exit. It's rock solid and no amount of pushing works. Tim checks the doorbell camera, but the screen is dead. They rush to the windows only to find them sealed with the same eerie wall. Liv desperately tries calling Friedman, but the phone has no signal and the Wi-Fi is completely gone. Tim shouts for help and hurls himself at the wall, but it doesn't even budge. While searching for a signal, Tim notices his phone glitching strangely whenever he gets close to the black bricks. The closer he moves, the worse the screen flickers. They grab a drill, but it doesn't even scratch the wall. When they test it on normal walls, they realize the black bricks are covering everything. Suddenly, muffled noises echo from the wall they share with their neighbors. Liv drills through, and they see Marvin and Anna trapped in the same nightmare. Their phones are dead, and they hadn't heard a single sound during the night. Anna breaks down sobbing, convinced they're all going to die there. Tim checks the kitchen sink and realizes the water is gone too. Trying to stay calm, he insists they just need to keep trying solutions like in a video game. But Liv snaps back furiously, reminding him this isn't a game. They could have escaped yesterday if he had listened. The argument escalates and she storms away. In a fit of rage, Tim hurls his phone against the wall. Seconds later, he notices a broken piece stuck firmly to the black bricks. When he pulls it off, it instantly snaps back. Liv returns with a mug, apologizing, but when Tim takes the spoon from her, it suddenly sticks to the wall too. The fear in their eyes turns to shock. Then curiosity gets the best of them. What if it's not dangerous? What if it's just a really sturdy wall? Liv throws a lighter at it, but it bounces back slowly as if repelled by an invisible force. More curious now, she tosses in a small pot. It clatters to the ground right outside the hole. Next, she tries a large glass jar. But instead of shattering, it just stops dead in its tracks, hanging in the air like it's being held by an invisible hand. A shiver runs down her spine as she realizes they might have stumbled upon something truly extraordinary. As Tim watches, mesmerized, he sees something even more astonishing. A trail of silver glitter falls from the jar to the floor, revealing a strange, almost magnetic substance seeping out of the wall. Fear grips him. Was their apartment the whole time? Are they trapped inside a cage? Liv, though, is too absorbed in her own thoughts to notice. She picks up the glass shards and places them against the wall. Her heart pounds as she feels an undeniable pull. This isn't just a wall, it's a magnet, but what could it be attracting? With trembling hands, Liv gathers several metal objects and places them one by one on the suspicious spots. Each one reacts violently, trembling and shaking. Just when she thinks it can't get any worse, a wrench suddenly shoots out toward Tim, who drops to his knees to avoid getting hit. In a reflex action, Liv dives in front of him and braces for impact. Sharp pieces painfully pierce her arms and legs, leaving bloody trails. Tim, shocked and scared, crams as many objects as he can back into the hole and pushes Liv away from the danger zone. Only once all the objects are back inside does he realize how bad she's hurt. After tending to her wounds, they sit down to eat and regain their strength. But their moment of respite is shattered by terrifying screams echoing from Marvin and Anna's apartment. Peeking through the hole they made earlier, they see furniture crashing, chairs flying, and two figures wildly yelling at each other. Then, just as abruptly, everything goes silent. A chill runs down Tim's spine. Is this the reason behind the wall? Has their neighbor lost their mind? Tim and Liv look at each other, worry etched on their faces. It's clear they have to go inside. Smashing open more of the wall, they crawl through to find Anna lying on the floor, seemingly unconscious. Relief washes over them until Marvin suddenly appears, charging at Tim, brandishing a baseball bat and screaming threats. Before he can strike, Tim acts instinctively, knocking the bat away and tackling Marvin. But Marvin isn't giving up easily. He fights back, scratching and biting until Tim manages to pin him down. Liv rushes to help, spraying Marvin in the face with pepper spray. Tim, using his last bit of strength, grabs the bat and strikes Marvin back. Dazed and subdued, Marvin growls, promising revenge. No one will stop him from hurting Anna again. Determined to protect Anna, Tim and Liv tie up Marvin's hands until he calms down. However, once they untie him, he passes out, likely due to a head injury. Alarmed, they call for help, but while waiting for the ambulance, Tim spots a locked no-entry door. Driven by curiosity, he forces it open. Inside, he finds digital cameras and an axe. Startled by a sudden noise, he swings the axe against the door in a panic, but it makes no dent. Meanwhile, back in their apartment, Marvin wakes up dazed and confused. Strange, he can't remember what happened. All he knows is that he shouldn't have taken Anna for granted. His wife walks in and he apologizes profusely, admitting he overdosed on medication after she hit him. She tearfully forgives him, but the tension between them is palpable. Now, trapped underground with no way out, they desperately try to think of a solution. Liv looks around the room, finally settling her gaze on the old brick wall. She explains that because of the building's age, there must be a hidden war shelter in the basement connected to the subway system. Their only chance of escape is going down. Tim grabs a hammer and starts smashing through the floor. The black bricks don't seem to extend beneath them, giving them hope. After a grueling effort, they finally carve a hole big enough to fit through. Tim descends first, using tied sheets as a rope, but Oswald is waiting for them at the bottom, pointing a gun straight at him. Tim tries to calm him down, explaining that he means no harm. But Oswald doesn't budge until his granddaughter Lee steps in. She warns everyone that, if they don't work together, they will all die. One by one, the others climb down, and Lee offers them a ladder to reach the next level. But before they can make a move, Marvin starts hammering through the floor again. Lee grows emotional and frustrated when she realizes her phone won't send messages. Tearfully, she admits that she had a fight with her girlfriend the night before. That's when she noticed the black wall as early as 4 a.m. when she got up to use the bathroom. Tim, meanwhile, notices a smoke detector on the ceiling. When he opens it, he finds a hidden camera. Oswald insists he had no idea and says Friedman must have arranged it. They rush to the kitchen and discover another camera in the fridge. Horror strikes them as they realize Friedman has been watching them all along. Liv remembers that Friedman lives next door to Oswald, so the group breaks through the shared wall into his apartment. The sight that greets them is nothing short of shocking. Exotic objects adorn every corner, and an ancient blade rests ominously on display. But the most jarring image of all is Friedman's lifeless body on the floor with both arms missing. Marvin runs to vomit, and Liv, unable to contain herself, lets out a scream. Tim, searching for clues, quickly finds Friedman's phone, which contains photos of the mysterious black walls. With dread, they hurry back to their apartment to regroup, but tension fills the room as suspicion falls upon each of them. Well guys, that's the end of part 2. Who do you think is responsible for all this? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And don't forget to stay tuned for more thrilling stories. See you soon.